Okay, I'm a little late with this one, but I was at a con. I'll explain with a video in the next couple of days. For now, I'm not even sure what I watched. That was the most amazing, most comic booky, most out there, most deeply chilling and weird, and at the same time, it answered a question I've been waiting for. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Episode 8, Ghost Stories. And the ghost in the show is a little hard to pin down. Is it the ghost of the past, the ghost that's happening, or the ghost from the end? Okay, I don't want to go too much before we get into spoiler territory. Needless to say, this episode changes the dynamic of the show. In fact, every episode has. It's one of the things that has made this series strong. A dynamic, changing set of characters at the same time as a dramatic plot. For those of you that don't know, what I do here is I review stories. I come up with theories of storytelling, and this whole thing is one grand experiment where I'm trying to find out how and why we tell stories. If that sounds interesting to you, click the subscribe button and join us on this little vision quest. For now, we're talking about Cloak and Dagger, or mostly Dagger tonight, but even if Cloak got the main part that was the ghost story. Tonight's episode, like many, splits up the couple of heroes. The less time they spend together, the better the episode is because they can showcase the different problems each of them are going into. And at the same time, the yin and the yang, that even when they're different, they're more of the same. But we'll see that again tonight when we see the duology of this storytelling. For now, before we get into spoilers, let's throw this up there. So once again, it's stop spoiler time. And we're already at OMG. We just had a woman in the fridge. Well, a guy in the fridge. Significant other in the fridge. Okay, well, there was a person killed and shoved into a fridge at the end of tonight's episode. And I was like, oh, what? What? Between that and the massive amounts of craziness going on with superpowers, I just loved it. But at the same time, one of the best parts was, up until now, the Light and Dark Force kind of tied us back into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But tonight, we got a little bit of a nod towards the Netflix series. I'm from New York. Did I ever tell you about my friend Misty? Maybe I will. That's almost definitely supposed to be Misty Knight, who's currently appearing in the Luke Cage series, which I haven't reviewed because I actually haven't gotten around to watch. What a bad nerd I am. Alright. So Cloak and Dagger both are dealing with the fact that it's been 8 years. Today's the anniversary of Daddy and Brother's death. And that alone is one of those psychologically hard things. And you see both families handling it different. Tandy's family's trying to, well, we're going to go and we're going to send up a balloon and we're going to remember the best parts and try to paint over the ugly parts. And Tyrone's more like, his family's all like, we almost want to forget it's going on. We want to just try to push through it. Either way, it's rough. And both of them have flashbacks near the end that really showcased the fact that there were hard moments on the kids right afterwards. Tyrone seeing his parents arguing about not wanting to live there anymore, and even worse, Tandy having to find out that her mother was almost dead when she got home. But okay, let's start with Dagger. Tandy has a plan. She gets the information she needs. She has to steal Tyrone's mother's ID to do it. But you know what? For the most part, the breaking and entering into that building, I don't mind so much. I've worked at more than enough places that were supposedly high security that if you just have the right badge or the right ID, you could walk around and until something goes wrong, no one's going to check those security tapes. And security isn't always the most active when they're supposed to be. She threatens the guy in charge, and he tries to bribe her, and for a second you think she's going to fall for it, but then she's like, no, I want my dad's good name. Unfortunately, at the end, that changes and does a 360. But alright, Tyrone, on the other hand, decides that he's going to reveal to the police officers that he can teleport. He's going to use the cloak to do it, and then he's going to do the Telltale Heart. Alright, time out. Is there anyone here that doesn't know what the Telltale Heart is? Let me give you a quick rundown. It's a short story where someone murders someone and buries them underneath their floorboards. In the middle of the day, when someone's visiting, all he can think he hears is the heart beating. And he goes mad, screaming about the heart that's still beating underneath the floorboards that's really more in his mind. Well, Tyrone's plan's pretty simple. Put on the cloak, become the ghost of his brother, and make the police officer think he's going crazy. And right off the bat, this was a good plan. He had to reveal his powers to do it, but man, it totally worked. And I just want to know, before we even move on with this, don't you think this plan would have totally worked? Even in a world where superheroes are a little known, like the MCU, they're not widely known, like everyone doesn't have powers. No, I think this would work really well. Meanwhile, of course, that backfires. Tandy and Tyrone meet up to launch off the balloon for her father that now is also going to be for his brother. She gets a little lit lantern, and just as it goes up, her mother, who's there, touches both of them, and boom, just like we've seen before, they can enter her mind. Now, this is where it gets trippy. The way they do the what's in your mind, what you're thinking, what you're afraid of, all of it has to be done on the cheap, admittedly. They don't have the budget for a, total, psychedelic trip, but they do a great job with symbolism. They do a great job of showcasing these two walking through someone's mind. And in this case, they're walking through her mother's. And she's trying to remember the good times, and trying to paint over the ugly ones. But ugly they were. And that's what Tandy never knew, that her father was abusive. And there were hints of it even back at the beginning of the episode. If you fall over, you're never going to be able to dance again. Yeah. So, that just makes it even more messed up, what Tandy's been going through. But at the same time, now she's called Roxanne and said, yeah, screw giving my dad his name back because he was a bastard who used to beat my mom and maybe would have been beating me by now. But of course, there's more to it than that. And at the same time, Roxanne is not the only villain. The corrupt police force that now has killed one of their own, shoved him in the fridge, and I'm so shocked I don't even know where to go. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. Next week, we have one more episode and then the season finale after that. And I'd love to hear where you think this is going and what you think is going to come next. And I will address your comments from both last week and this week then, because I was a little out of it having gone to the con. I hope you have a good night, but before you do, could you like and share this video? And of course, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, enable alerts, and join our little community. As I ask the question, how are we telling this story? Why are we telling this story? And in this case, I think that it's a social commentary, along with a psychological look at how messed up someone with survivor's guilt can be. But that's a bit heavy, so I'll end this with, it was also a bit comic booky, the teleporting, the throwing of the laser darts, the ripping through things. I hope you have a good night, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.